Welcome back to your custom deep dive. Today we are looking at something that, well, it completely redefines buying a TV. I mean, usually you just imagine a giant cardboard box on your porch, right?
Right, yeah, you just drag it in and plug it into the wall.
Exactly. But what if the screen you want is physically larger than your front door? You're not just buying a display anymore. You are taking on like an architectural project.
Oh, absolutely. It becomes a whole installation process.
Yeah, so today's mission is unpacking the specs and the logistics of this absolute monster. We're talking about the Draper 254-233 profile plus fixed frame screen from HDTVSupply. Okay, let's unpack this. We're looking at a 115-inch display that, honestly, it refuses to follow any normal home theater rules.
It really does. And I mean, to even wrap our heads around that $2,890 price tag, we really have to stop thinking of this as a television. It's a completely different beast.
Right off the bat, I noticed the shape is different. The specs list this as a Cinemascope screen with a 2.35:1 aspect ratio. So for anyone who's used to, just a standard 16.9 flat screen, it's not just a big TV, right? It's like installing a private movie theater window in your house.
That is the perfect way to describe it. Because, a standard 16.9 TV is great for sports or watching the news, but 2.35.1, that is the ultra-wide format that actual blockbuster movies are shot in.
Oh, so no more of those annoying black bars at the top and bottom of the screen.
Exactly. The screen matches the cinematic format perfectly. But what's fascinating here is the physical design itself. The Profile Plus features this zero-edge, borderless option. It sits less than 2 inches deep on the wall.
Wait, borderless, so there's no thick black frame around it at all?
None. They actually call it mullionless. So practically speaking, that means multiple screens can sit right next to each other with zero visual separation.
Oh, wow. So you can just build a continuous video wall. Like, I'm imagining this in churches or big corporate boardrooms.
Yes, exactly. It looks like a single unbroken canvas.
Okay, I get the shape and the borderless thing, but I have to push back on the surface specs for a second. The material is called gray XH600V, and it has a 0.6 gain. Why gray instead of white? And doesn't a 0.6 gain mean it's, well, actively absorbing light? That sounds like a terrible idea for a projector. Wouldn't it be way too dim?
It sounds super counterintuitive, I know. But in high-end projection, your ultimate goal isn't actually raw brightness, it's contrast.
Okay.
So that gray surface is designed to deliberately absorb ambient room light. It makes your blacks look like true ink instead of that washed-out dark gray you sometimes see.
Right, but you still have to overcome the dimness, right, because it's eating the light.
You do. You absolutely must pair this specific screen with an incredibly bright high-end projector to really punch through that gray material.
Okay, so you're hyper-controlling the light to get perfect contrast. But here's where it gets really interesting for me. How do you physically maneuver a rigid 115-inch screen into a building? Or, I mean, if you're chaining them together, potentially a 30-foot borderless frame.
Right, you'd think you would have to tear down walls or get a crane.
Yeah, I'd be terrified of getting stuck in a stairwell.
Yeah.
But looking at the logistics, it actually ships unassembled. It's like high-end AV engineering meets flat-pack furniture logic.
It is brilliant. If we connect this to the bigger picture, moving massive rigid rectangles into existing buildings is just the ultimate AV installer headache.
So they just bypass the problem entirely.
Exactly. You literally carry these lighter, extruded aluminum frame pieces right into the room. You build the skeleton there, and then the viewing surface attaches to it.
But how does the surface stay flat? If it's borderless, you can't just stretch it and staple it to the back like a painting.
Not staples required. They use a really clever sliding hook and loop system. It pulls the material perfectly taut across the frame.
So it solves all those massive installation pain points. I mean, the assembly sounds surprisingly forgiving.
The assembly is, yes, but the purchasing process, absolutely not.
Yeah, I saw the fine print. It is intense. This is a special order item that is strictly non-cancelable, non-returnable, and non-refundable. So what does this all actually mean for you as the buyer?
It means there is zero margin for error. You have to understand that these aren't mass-produced TVs sitting in a warehouse somewhere. They are custom cut to the exact millimeter for your specific room.
Right, so if you measure wrong, you are basically stuck with a nearly $3,000 mistake.
Unfortunately, yes. If you return a 115-inch custom tension screen, it's totally useless to the next customer. That strict policy is simply the reality of bespoke manufacturing.
But there is a trade-off, right? You get a 5-year Draper warranty, lifetime tech support, and they throw in free shipping, which is huge for specialized freight. It just demands absolute precision in your room planning.
Measure it twice, measure 3 times. You really have to plan the entire room around this canvas.
So the big takeaway here is that building a premium viewing space, it's just as much about the logistics of the hardware as the picture itself.
It really is. And, it leaves us with an interesting concept to ponder.
Oh, what's that?
Well, with these mullion-less, zero-edge screens allowing for infinite, seamless physical expansion, are we moving toward a future where our physical walls disappear entirely? Like, what happens when they are just completely replaced by continuous edge-to-edge digital canvases?
That is wild to think about. Your entire wall just becomes a window.